So my course has done well for the last 2-3 weeks. I finally now got my first car a couple of weeks later. So here it is. Little Fuman's done me well for the last 2 weeks. Taken me back into to work, and the Insignia is still not done. So this is what I've got. Now apologies, I haven't got my wireless Go with me today, so this audio quality might not be as good as I want it to be, but here is, for now anyways, my 19 plate Corsa. It's a 1.4 naturally aspirated, it's not turbocharged, it's just a basic little car, and well, I don't know when the Insignia is going to be done, but hopefully it'll be done pretty soon. But I could be having this car for about 2 weeks yet, and that's down to they still haven't got the tensioner. The parts are still on order and the car's been there for about 3 weeks. I apologise firstly also if I haven't made a video for the last 3 weeks. Also, the week I took the Insignia in, which was the day I made my last video, I caught COVID 2 days afterwards, so I was off for a week. And then obviously I've been in work for the last 2 weeks, taking HMS Fuman to work, which she got me back into to work quite reliably. She was guzzling fuel, and this little thing for a 1.4 naturally aspirated seems alright. Now Sarah's car, the 1.4 Astra, we are getting rid of that car. It's causing more issues and the MOT is due on the 16th of February, so it's now time to move that car along. It's coming up with more and more issues. It's on 77,000. You got the EGR issue, which I mentioned a while ago, which I didn't want to touch. That's a £700 fix if I was to take it to a garage, where they would, if anything went wrong with it, they would sort out the ECU as well. But also we're having issues with the electrical power steering, which isn't great. And then after all that, we've got the MOT and whatever comes up with the MOT, as well as we have the chain issue still, which is still ticking. Then we have to have it serviced, and it's more money than what the car's worth, so we are letting that car go, unfortunately. Otherwise, it was a great car, and you know, it served a purpose. It's done Sarah well, and now it's time to move on, so we're going to be looking at a few cars soon. But this little car, to be fair, I've driven it around now for probably about 40 miles since I picked it up at 9 o'clock this morning, and it's a good little car. It's got its own few little problems, like for example, when I picked it up, the previous person who took this out as a courtesy car had an accidental bump on the back. That's not anything to do with me. It's also got a few scratches on it here and there. Where is it? It's somewhere around here. You guys will probably see it before I do. There's somewhere around here is a scratch. There's one right there. The camera's not picking it up very well, but the interior on this is quite cool, quite smart looking, quite contemporary. It's got a little touchscreen in there. Unfortunately, it hasn't got satellite navigation, but that's no biggie. But yeah, it's a 1.4 non-turbo, but actually it's pretty nippy for what it is. The boot size of it will do me for the time. There's me standard Dr. Peppers in the back, but it does the job. If I can close this boot, it's quite a heavy boot. Probably because the only thing that's heavy in it is the actual glass. It's not an SRI, it's just a basic spec, nothing too special. But as we jump into it, this car has done, it's quite comfortable, these seats as well. This car's only done 18,500 miles, but otherwise very basic, very simple, nothing too special. Well, that's what we want. We don't want anything too special. It's just a courtesy car. So we're going to take this little car for a little spin. I've put about 40 quid's worth of petrol in it. Bearing in mind I've already taken it 30 miles, but nice and simple. Budget basically. It's nothing like my Insignia. My Insignia is much more superior. Gonna have a swig. I don't know when I'm going to get this car, the Insignia back. I'm quite gutted actually, because obviously I had it on 50,000 miles when the chain tensioner went on it, but they did quote me £2,500 actually to fix the car, but luckily I managed to say that, you know, with the argument of it's only 2 months out of warranty, and I serviced it 6 months after I bought the car, had the proof there as well. And I also had on the display as well that I did 325 miles on 57.5 to the gallon. So it was quite clear that I haven't been ragging it in any way, shape or form. So yeah, it's a chain and tensioner that's gone on the car. No damage to the engine, luckily. But they're just waiting on parts. That's the only thing that's taken a while with it. So 2 weeks later, after COVID, I've now got this little beaut, should I say, to get me to A to B quite reliably, and it's much better on fuel, I can already tell. If I had the Corsa and I drove it to where I've driven it today, I'd probably have an empty tank. You know, it's not brilliant on fuel, but after, well, considering a year November, Feeman's wheel fell off whilst I was on my way to work, considering I've took it 10 times to work and 10 times home from work on a daily basis, and considering it's also been pretty cold out, may I add, in the mornings, and I've had to defrost the car, Feeman's done a sterling job in keeping me mobile, which is great. And now it's this little car's turn to take me where I need to. And I can't complain with it much, to be fair. I mean, my mum had a red 1.2 Corsa, you guys may have seen at the time, and that was only a 1.2, but there was no power to it. And when I found out that this wasn't a turbo, I was like, oh no, this is going to be slow. But to be fair, it's actually a pretty nippy car. The only thing I have as a complaint against it is the clutch isn't very spectacular, but it's alright when you get moving, but when you're reversing and stuff like that, it kind of stutters, and it doesn't, you know, the clutch is quite high, but it's not going to be forever, this thing, you know, it's just to get me by. And it's quite a nice little car, to be fair, as a learner's car or a first car, you know, it's pretty nippy, but it's quite quiet in here, which is what I can hear the road noise from the tyres, but otherwise it's quite a quiet little car, considering it's built from Spain. But this thing will do the job for now. It's nothing I need long term. It's going to get me where I need to be reliably, but also efficiently. And that's what's important. That's why I need a courtesy car, because with the Insignia I drive for miles, places where I want to be, have the heating on and that kind of thing. And Feeman was okay, but God, she drank. You know, 100 quid didn't last very long in fuel, that's for certain. You know, 20 quid pretty much every other day isn't what I would class as economical, considering, I mean, I can't really complain too much. When Feeman was made, you know, fuel was like 90p a litre or something silly like that, and now it's like 141 in places, or 138 if I'm lucky in some places. But this little thing ain't the quickest thing in the world. No, it hasn't got a turbo, but it's got a little spring in its step, and I suppose that's okay. You've got, you can connect your phone Bluetooth wise to the stereo, which is great because I can listen to my music still rather than having like a CD or something, or an aux cable. You know, so it still has the quirks that I'm used to. But at least it's got some sort of infotainment screen, and it's also got a city button as well, which, if you're going around town wise, you can press that button and the steering becomes so incredibly light. And it's great because when you get up to higher speeds in this car, the steering stiffens, so that you're not using a lot of movement in the steering to overtake or anything like that. Nothing sharp. My only complaint among that other one that I mentioned is, I mean, the seats are very comfy, may I say. It's like sitting on a massive soft pillow. But because this is a, as a class, a slightly poorer spec, should we say, you know, although it has the touchscreen, but there's some of these don't have the touchscreen. It's very wallowy and leany, and the seats aren't very supportive. They are on your back, but when you sat in the seats, the bolsters, you know, kind of slide a little bit, and you have to sort of adjust yourself. But honestly, I could live with this for now. You know, well, I'll have to anyway. But I'm glad I now have two cars again. In case the Corsa, my Corsa, was to break down. Obviously I'll be using this for work and longer distances anyways, but if the Corsa was to break down for whatever reason, you know, at least I've got a reliable car to get me where I need to be, which is the idea of having two cars in the first place. You know, I haven't got two cars for, you know, the sake of it. I'm quite glad I've got fuming back out of the unit since everything that went wrong with fuming. Plus, not only that, I'm glad in a sense because the unit is no longer there anymore. It's been knocked down and they still haven't rebuilt it. But the added benefit being is I've been able to be fortunate to use fuming to get me where I need to be relatively reliably. And now I've got the courtesy car, God knows how long I have it for. I feel better now, and it's quite comfy, to be fair. Otherwise, this car, I mean, I've took it on the bypass a couple of times and it's been perfectly fine. So all is good in the world here at the moment. I'll get paid soon, so hopefully I can put some of the money I've lost so far in excess fuel away and sort of bring myself up from that. But I mean, this is quite a smart looking car still. It's got tinted rear windows, but when you're sitting in the car, you don't actually notice how tinted they are until you get out of the car and you actually look. It's a bit like my Insignia, really. Although when I first got on this and looked at it, thought it's not got tinted windows. As soon as I got out, it looks actually quite smart. The only downside to this particular car, which is quite unfortunate from the previous person who obviously borrowed it, they were obviously a bit they weren't too careful in reversing, obviously, unless someone else hit the car perhaps, which probably is the case. But yeah, so I don't know really what to call this. I mean, the reg looks like it says flag on the end and the colour's black, so I suppose I can call this car Black Flag for the moment, not being racist in any way either. And I've forgotten what I was going to say. The turning circle of this is pretty good, I must admit. But I do miss my car. See, it tries to stumble then when I put a little power down to try and reverse it. But otherwise, pretty comfortable, and it'll do me for now. I'm so used to a big car, but the thing is that this dashboard is just huge, and you tend to forget how big the bonnet actually is on this. It's absolutely huge. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded in the last 3 weeks, but there's a reason to why I haven't uploaded in the last 3 weeks. But here it is, here's the new video. So if you like this video and you want to know what's going on with my Insignia and keep up to date, then why not leave a like and subscribe, and also click the bell icon up in the top of your screen to be notified of any future uploads that I make on either of the cars, whether it be Fuming or it be Black Flag or the Insignia. You know, so far things are going better now, and you know, I was asymptomatic with COVID as well, so it was a bit of a pain and a blag staying at home, but I've got over it anyways. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Hope you guys stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, leave a like and subscribe. Carry you home.